This lesson, we're going to talk about synthetic divisions. How are we going to use synthetic division to divide polynomial functions? So let's look at example A. Synthetic division is same as long divisions. When you're writing in a synthetic division terms, make sure you write it in the descending order. So start with the square and then first and constant order. And then when you're dividing with x plus 3, we're going to divide with negative 3. So it will be opposite sign. And when you're using the synthetic division, we don't use the variable, we only use the value. So for example, from x squared, we're going to only use 1. And from x, we're going to use 10, number with the sign. So it will be positive 10, and then constant, which is 21. We're dividing those numbers with x plus 3, so you're dividing with negative 3. The first terms you're going to always bring down because you will need something to multiply. So when you bring down 1, you're going to multiply 3x times 1, and you will write it down right here. So again, you're going to multiply these two numbers, so multiply those two, and write it there as the solutions. So negative 3 times 1 is going to be negative 3. And then this two line, let me write it with blue, this two line, you're going to add them and write it on the bottom line. So 10 minus 3, you will get 7. Again, you're going to do negative 3 times 7 and write it there. So negative 3 times 7 is negative 21. It will be negative 21. And add those two lines, that will give me 0. What does this 0 means? This 0 means this is factored, no remainder, right? So that means negative 3 is going to be solution, one of the solution of these polynomial functions because it's factored without the remainder. So then we can say what's the leftover if you factor x plus 3 is going to be using this 1. And remember, you're from x squared, you factor x, so only x remains, and use 7, which is positive 7. So in other words, if you have x squared plus 10x plus 21, when you divide this, or when you factor it, you will get x plus 3 and x plus 7. Which end up getting x is equals to negative 3 and x is equals to negative 7. So this 2 is going to be solution if this is equals to 0, right? But right now we're just to see if we understand how to use the synthetic divisions. But later on, this is what we're going to use it as, synthetic divisions. Solving polynomial function when it's not factorable. Let's look at one more problem, B. So we're going to use this. Look like starting from cube, you have 1 for cube, 4 for square, negative 5 for linear, and 5 as constant. Dividing this by negative 3x minus 3, so dividing by 3. Remember, you always bring down the first number straight down, and this 3 times 1, you're going to write it here. So that's going to be 3. And you add this two line, so you will get 7. 3 times 7 is 21. Add this two line will be 16. 3 times 16 is 48. Add 5, you get 53. So this is not going to be a factor value. X minus 3 is not the factor of the given polynomial functions. Why? Because you didn't have 0. So how are we going to write the solutions? When we get this, we started with cube and we factor out 1x. So solution should have square. Start with square. And plus 7x plus 16 plus, that's remainder. Or what are we dividing with? X minus 3. So 53 didn't get to divide by x minus 3 because that value is too small. So that is our solution for that problem using synthetic division. Let's try C. We start with negative 10x squared plus 2x cubed minus 5. It looks like this is not descending order, so make sure we start with the highest power when we're writing into the synthetic form. And if we have any missing terms, look like this is linear term is missing, we need to use the 0 for the placeholder. So you will start with 2 from the cube, negative 10 from square, 0 from linear, and negative 5 from constant, dividing by x minus 4. So you're dividing with positive 4. Bring down the first value straight down. Now you have something to multiply. So you're doing 4 times 2, you get 8. When you add negative 10 to it, you get negative 2. 4 times negative 2, you get negative 8. Add 0, still negative 8. Negative 8 times 4 is negative 32. Add negative 5 will be negative 37. Again, this is going to be remainder, right? So I guess obviously x minus 4 is not the factor of given polynomial functions. But when we divide, we started with cube, so what's left over should be square. And minus 2x and minus 8 plus your remainder. And that was x minus 4, what we divide with. Let's try one more. So you have this polynomial functions, which is not descending order, so you will start with the highest power. If you have a missing terms, look like squared term is missing, you need to use the 0 for the placeholder. So you will have first from the fourth power, 4 from the cube, 0 from the square, negative 2 from the linear, and constant is 18. You're dividing this with what? Negative 2, because it was x plus 2. First value always down, so you have something to multiply, right? You're going to multiply that 2, which is going to be negative 2, and plus 4 will be positive 2. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, plus 0 is negative 4. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8, plus negative 2 is positive 6. Negative 2 times 6 is negative 12, plus 18 is positive 6. So again, this is 6 as the remainder. And we started with what exponents? Fourth, right? So your solution will start with cube. 1 cube, where you don't need to write down 1 in front, plus 2x squared minus 4x plus 6 with remainder of 6. Didn't get to divide by x plus 2. So that will be solution for that polynomial synthetic divisions.